There's a new street fighter on your windowsill. The weapon is peace, the word is chill.
Hello there, gang, and welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest action figure video podcast. So take off your pants, crack a beer, and let's talk toys. Let's talk about the top 10 action figures of 2021. Oh boy, this was an incredible year for new releases and for me looking at new lines and different producers and developers and getting into all the different aspects of collecting that maybe I'd ignored before because I was always so focused on Marvel Legends. I maybe let a lot of good figures pass me by. Well, not anymore. In fact, so much so, this list is entirely Marvel Legends free. And the reason for that is because I'm doing a separate Marvel Legends list. It's funny, Legends will always be the kind of bread and butter of this channel. I still love Marvel Legends, but I feel they're kind of like in a category all of their own. So this is the top 10 action figures outside of Marvel Legends, because sometimes it feels like I'm comparing apples to oranges. Top 10 figures? Let's do it. So just because there are no Legends doesn't mean that there's no Marvel. In our number 10 spot, we have the amazing Yamaguchi Iron Spider. And this is a figure that I have probably played with the most this year. Out of all the ones that I've got, this guy has probably taken the most amount of time because this has been a learning experience, just getting to understand what this is all about, what amazing Yamaguchi are all about, because this is less so an action figure as it is like a Rubik's Cube game. The articulation, the way that it's put together, the joints, the construction of it, so unusual, so unique, because this doesn't just pose and move like a normal figure with ratchet joints or ball joints or anything like that, or butterfly joints. Everything, you see why it just gets the number 10 spot. Everything about this figure is unique to itself. It poses incredibly, like you can get this guy in so many unique and unusual poses, but you have to take your time in doing it. You can't just manipulate him like you would do a Marvel Legend, because the chances of snapping stuff on here feels so intense. That's why it feels like a game, like a Rubik's Cube. You have to figure out, if I turn this here and then maneuver that around there, then I can position this here. It's so unusual, and I kind of dig that. The Yamaguchi kind of sculpting, there are some really unusual proportions and angles of the body and the muscles, so that sometimes I would look at it and go, it just doesn't look right. It doesn't look like it fits with your sort of more traditional human Marvel Legend type positions and poses. But then when you actually have him in a dynamic, crazy, flying through the air, swinging kind of pose, it just works. It's so unusual that it's really cool. Then, of course, being the Iron Spider, you have these amazing Iron Spider legs. And this is what really sells it. The detail on these looks so cool. This is straight out of the most intricately designed comic book versions of these legs. We've been waiting for a Marvel Legend of this guy for the longest time, and now we're finally getting one. It's been announced for next year. So as soon as I got this expensive one, we got a Marvel Legend coming out. Typical. But then again, at the way prices are going up, Legends are starting to catch up with these Mortal Lux figures. So of course I'll get the Legend too and see how they compare. But this guy, he kind of stands on his own as being such a unique, unusual, and of course after years of asking for it, a highly demanded action figure, I'm so glad to at last have this in the collection. Is it going to be the start of me buying more Yamaguchi figures? Not necessarily, because I'm not sure I'm convinced with the way that they're put together, their style, their unusual proportions. This is a fun experiment, and I'm really glad to have done it, because you can see the only drawback with this figure. You've really got to push these on and make sure they're there. That's why he only gets the number 10 spot. But considering how long I've played with this, how much time I've put into messing around with him, definitely well deserving of the top 10. In the 9th place, we have Deluxe Series Boba Fett from the Star Wars Black Series. Now, I wanted to limit myself with Black Series, and I have. I've been really good. I've only got this guy and Mando, and that's all that I need. But I always wanted a Boba Fett, because you gotta have the Fett man. If you're gonna be expanding your collection into different lines and things that have some connection to you as a child with your nostalgia, Boba Fett's a guarantee, and they've done a really great job of capturing his classic Return of the Jedi style here. I love the flame effects, and he's got the blaster, and he's got the cut-in-half blaster, he's got the booster jets out the back here that are so pretty. This figure is all about the accessories, and they did a great job giving you your money's worth. And it was a case of you have to get your money's worth, because this was a deluxe figure. It was more expensive than your average one, so is he a third better than your average Black Series figure? Yeah, I don't know about that. But at the same time, he's Return of the Jedi Boba Fett. You know, that carries a lot of weight. And this figure carries a lot of weight too. It's a well put together, decent, hefty figure. Well, not hefty, it's just a regular kind of 6-inch figure, but you feel like there's a lot going on here with the different levels of armor, the different layers. He's got his Wookiee braids, the wonderful scuffing and battle damage on the helmet, little things like you can move his antenna up and down, or his targeter, whatever he's using it for at the time. It's just got a lot of love that's gone into this. Small little details like the holes in his cape there, that's great. The only kind of downside with this figure is that he does have kind of funny knees. There's only single jointed knees, and the joint is below the kneecap. Or no, what am I saying? It's whatever it is, it's weird. Is what I'm trying to say. His knees, his legs look like they're bending lower than they should do. It's a little bit unusual. But still, as long as you have him in a flight pose, I think that's what works best. Or just standing straight. But I've got him in a flight stand with his jetpack sort of rocketing him away while blasting out the flamethrower. All of those dynamic elements together make him look like a really awesome figure on the shelf.
The next figure on this list was quite simply inevitable.
I love this Thanos so much. One of my absolute favorite figures. And it's funny because he is such a Marmite figure. So many people in the comments section of my review that I did praising him were like, I hate this figure. He looks terrible. I don't like the suit. I don't like how baggy it is. I don't like the articulation. Shh, you're confused. This guy is amazing. And I will hear nothing else. Okay? He's so heavy. Like, he is a heavy, hefty, chunky, beefy boy. You know, you feel like you've got your money's worth here. I love the fact that they've taken the classic Thanos costume and they've modernized it. And that's something I really like with Mezco. I didn't know if I would do. But actually, I really love that they take the classic designs and then they are not afraid to tweak them just a little bit here and there to put their own spin on them. I actually really dig that, and I didn't think I would. But I do. This Thanos, I've got the Mezco Cyclops as well, and I love that they are a little bit different. And this guy just dominates my shelf. Now, a problem with him was that the Infinity Gauntlet, and a lot of people agree, doesn't really fit well on his hand. I fixed that problem by having a display where he's reaching out to grab it. That's so effective. And the fact that you can light up the gauntlet and the gems all glow, that's so awesome. He's got all the different heads. This is the most expressive one, I think. He's also got a neutral one, kind of a roar kind of look. But I love the grinning smile as he goes to take the gauntlet. Then just all the detail on the armor. Some might say it's over-designed. They're wrong. Because look at the boots. Everything going on here. He looks like the mad space titan. This guy's the centerpiece of my Marvel Universe collection, and I adore him. I could just go on, but I don't have to. Go check out the review I did of him, because this dude, yeah, he is inevitably one of the best figures of 2021.
Pale driver, you've been gone too long in the midnight street. Oh, what's becoming of me?
Pale Driver, the Krig Pale Driver. This, I told you I was getting into other lines this year, and Mezco, it's so funny. I did a full-on 180. Didn't like cloth goods, didn't think they looked good, and then I got a proper close-up look at what the actual modern cloth goods look like, and I realized, I've been judging this by like 1990s standards. This adds so much more. These feel like museum pieces. They feel like they've been made for a stop motion animation movie. That's why I love these Mezco, because it's just a piece of artwork. It's artistry. That's where I was getting a little bit sick of Marvel Legends, because they felt so mass-produced and you were getting all these defects and paint scuffs and bad joints, and I was like, it just felt cheap. Whereas this, I mean, Lord knows, these ain't cheap. I will admit that. But I would rather get one figure that feels like it's been lovingly crafted with nuance and detail than 5 figures that feel like they've just been churned out of a factory. I mean, don't get me wrong, all figures are churned out of factories, but some churned out a little nicer than others. And I just dig this sci-fi kind of design. I've set up a whole separate kind of display section, which is sci-fi cosmic type characters that I can headcanon fudge into one universe. Krig is right up there as a badass looking bounty hunter. I love the Matrix Sentinel style mask, which actually you can take off and there's the face underneath there. I'm not such a fan of the face, to be honest, but doesn't matter because the mask looks awesome. He's got light up features as well in the chest that bring the figure to life. And then the actual soft goods of his trousers there with the beautifully sculpted space armor, and then all the accessories. He's got clips and magazines for his weapons. He's got the stun baton clipped on back here. He's got the knife. So much stuff. My only fear is that I will lose bits and pieces because there are so many accessories. But on the whole, my goodness, this guy's fantastic. Now we go back to Marvel with an incredible gift from an incredible friend of the show, Titanium Man. Why do I love Titanium Man so more? Because he opened my eyes to what Select are actually doing in the modern day now. Kind of like Mezco, I'd sort of written off Select. My idea of Select began and finished in the early 2000s, where they kind of made poorly articulated bricks, and I just wasn't at home to them. And then I was told, dude, Titanium Man, you gotta look at this guy. And when I finally got him in hand, I realized, oh no, this is why everyone is nuts for some of the Select figures. The work on this is incredible. Look at all the joints. Yeah, you can't, because you can't see them. No pegs anywhere, all clear, invisible joints. You can bend his knees and elbows, all the articulation. So much going on here that it's like it wasn't just churned out. Again, it's like someone sat down like an academic, like a toy scientist, and figured out on a big pad, how can we make this figure the absolute best way we can, scientifically, with joints and angles that make everything work. And they did, and the result is fantastic. And then you throw on a beautiful chrome racing green paint job as well that just pops off the shelf like that. So wonderful. Also, he's got the unmasked head as well. And the fact that this character scales correctly with Marvel Legends, well, I mean, come on. That's an absolute given there. Different hands as well, so you've got the fist hand and the grabbing hand too. But I just love how big, mighty, and imposing he is. Perfect for your Iron Man villains. The fact that the Titanium Man, the guy inside the armor, is meant to be a giant, that works really well because, as I said, the scaling matches. But just as a showpiece, this is fantastic and gets me so excited to get Apocalypse next year. Hopefully it's next year we get him. It needs to be, because I sold my bath. So if we get a Select Apocalypse with this kind of tooling and sculpting and detail and paintwork, oh my goodness, I'm already excited. This next figure just came like an RKO out of nowhere and won my heart. Neca, Ming the Merciless. What was he doing being so good? For a regular retail price. I bought this dude at a Comic-Con. He was reduced, alright, but still, it was only from 20 to 15. $15 for all of this? This is insane. Look at the paintwork. The paintwork on here is incredible. Not to mention the Neca sculpting. Look at the face. The detail on there is absolutely second to none. I cannot believe that this is just a basic off-the-rack figure. And because he was discounted, he cost a lot less than your average Marvel Legend that I just get out of the packet and go, they just cheaply repainted the same old buck. This is all unique to Ming the Merciless. They've repainted him a few times now, but this was the original one. And my goodness, his ruff, all of the gems and jewels, so much on here that has been made with so much love. He's got a cape with bendy wire. And look at that, I haven't put my eye out either. So clearly that's no reason to not include bendy wire and soft goods, because it looks beautiful. Got this flowing in the breeze. Even behind this, he's got all the different details on the back there. There is so much that has gone into this figure. With his staff as well, with the dragon head. I could just go on and on. Ming the Merciless, absolutely phenomenal. And quite frankly, he puts other action figures to shame. Back to Mezco now with Hawk P40. What a bizarre, unusual creation. And that's what I love. When I was speaking about Mezco before, I was talking about how it feels like artistry, like someone has sat down and just gone, what can I make? What do I have inside me that I want to turn into like a cool looking, unique action figure? And someone gave us this dude, a World War II fighter pilot inspired cosmic bounty hunter looking bruiser type guy. I just love all the crazy headcanon that has gone in to making this guy. The Mezco figures, they do have like small bits of lore behind them, but not really fleshed out, so you can kind of piece things together yourself if you like. And I just love the fact that also he has two different heads. So you've got this B-52 bomber head, and you've got like a tank turret head as well. That's so much fun. But then with the soft goods again, look at the bomber jacket with the fleece wool kind of interior. You've got the pinup, the old 1940s style pinup on the back. And then also, you can't even see here because I like his two hand weapons. Comes with a huge big minigun as well with blast effects. But then all of this, we've got the details of the dog tags that have the Mezco Rumble Society logo on there. The propeller belt, the camo, just so much fun has gone into this figure. It didn't have to correspond with a movie or a comic, or more to the point, it didn't have to fit into a set budget that a wave has to meet. It was just, no, let's just figure out what we want to put on an awesome action figure. This kind of reminds me of in The Simpsons when Homer was allowed to design his own car. And he was like, I want it to have this, and it needs to have that, and this. And to be honest, the whole point of that story was it ended up being a train wreck. But in this case, I love what they've got. It's like, I want him to have a B-52 head with a shark face and a minigun and a bomber jacket. I'm like, yeah, do it, because the overall result is an amazing looking action figure. Love this guy. Alright, you ready to get big and beefy? The Violator! This dude, oh my giddy lord. This was an impulse purchase. I wasn't even planning on getting him, but again, I was at London Comic Con. I saw him there, I was feeling a bit spendy, and I went for it, and I'm so glad that I did. This guy right here is just incredible. He's about twice the price of a regular 6-inch legend type action figure, but there's about 4 figures worth of plastic in this guy, and just everything. Look at the sculpting detail. This ain't some buck repaint here. This is a completely unique, bizarre, terrifying looking figure, and he is amazing. And of course I can fudge him into any display that I want. Just a demon hellspawn type creature, yeah. Right now I've got my Neca movie turtles fighting him, and it looks incredible. But everything that's going on here with the paintwork, all the shading and the fading, it's just amazing. And so much articulation as well. You can really play about with him too. You're not limited by just, what it's preset. It's not the old McFarlane posable statues type thing. You can really have a lot of fun with how you want to display this guy. And his legs, even though they're kind of triple jointed type legs that often collapse, these ones seem to hold their position very, very well. So honestly, this has got me so excited for future deluxe McFarlane releases. I see we're getting a Cygor next year as well, and I'm being so picky and choosy about my money and my space, but to have this guy stacked up with Cygor next to him, yeah, that's a guarantee. This dude, he's kind of just set the standard for giant, big, badass figures. Absolutely love him. Speaking of hell demons, we now have in the second place Arethyr and Atheron. Now, okay, it's kind of a 2-for-1, but still, these guys, they just naturally pair together, and this was my introduction to Mythic Legions. And when I saw how these were made, what went into them, how good they were, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to go all in with the Cosmic Legions because these are just absolutely incredible. The main man himself right here, just look at all the wonderful, I mean, again, fire effects, translucent stuff, that'll always get my attention. But just the way that they've done the blending and the shading, the softer goods on his armor that he's wearing here, the huge big battle boots. I know a lot of this stuff is reused from different figures as well, from the Mythic Legions line, but then again, I don't have any of those. So it's all new to me. And I just love that. I mean, this is a full-on hell demon here. This reminds me of playing Dungeon Keeper, so there was a lot of nostalgia there from my 90s gaming childhood. But the fact that we have these huge big wings as well that can expand all the way out, if you want him to dominate the shelf, he absolutely will do. The fact that you can take off the mask as well, you've got the demon face underneath, all the flames firing up from his hair and the big old horns and the massive shoulder pads. There's so much that's just incredibly striking about this figure. Love him so much. And then the fact that you can sit him on the back of the horse as well. And the horse is a horse, of course. But look at the paint effects on here. If I was voting for my own paint job of the year, this is a paint job that definitely deserves a lot of credit and kudos. The way that they've got the fire sort of merging and going from the orange to the yellow, from the hotter areas to the cooler ones, everything that's put on here, this is just beautiful. As a pair of action figures, I absolutely adore them. And finally, my 2021 action figure of the year has to be Mafex Gambit. My first ever Mafex figure, and what a way to start off. I was like, nah, I don't need that. And then the early releases started to come in and the rumbling started to happen and everyone was saying, wow, this is kind of an impressive figure. And I was like, is it really? And I was looking into it. I thought he does look nice. I'd already been converted to the soft goods, so I thought, okay, that's the soft coat, that has a lot going for it. And then yeah, I took the plunge. And I'm so glad I did. Because this sets you apart. This shows you how this differs from, example, Marvel Legends. Because you can compare this next to, at a glance, an almost identical Gambit figure. The Marvel Legend, if you just sort of catch it out the corner of your eye, could be either one, but then you look and you see it's little things you can't always measure, like just the quality of the movement of the joints. They're so smooth. It's like the difference between a bit of a rusty car and then a hot off the production line, beautiful Italian engineering sports car. Everything is so smooth and sleek. And then the details on the face sculpts as well. We've got the different expressions and each one of them is just perfect Remy LeBeau Gambit. And then, of course, the metallic paintwork, the bright sheening silver, the beautiful, when I said silver I meant pink, the bright sheening pink, and the beautiful silver on the boots and everything around there. That's gorgeous. But then you throw on top of all of that the amazing translucent energy effects. Mwah! Chef's kiss. And then little parts you didn't even need. They didn't have to give you extra energy effects to go on the end of his bow staff, but they did, and you know what? It looks incredible. Absolutely love those little touches. When you put him in a flight stand and have him vaulting over some debris, whipping out the cards as he goes, that is Gambit through and through. And that's what's inspired me to kind of curate my X-Men collection now. I want the Jim Lee figures to be like the centerpiece of my display, but I want to actually change up to these superior versions of each figure. So I've got the Mafex Gambit. I swapped out Cyclops for the Mezco Cyclops. Now I'm like, do I want to get the Mafex Psylocke? I'm thinking about it. But I'm thinking about a lot of things because this has given me a lot to think about. But this figure, absolutely incredible. Love him to bits. Easily the best figure of 2021. And folks, that does it for my top 10 action figures of 2021. What a eclectic mix that was. And I'm so happy to be going out into different lines and different waves and seeing what there is to offer. And don't you worry, because not only am I going to do a top Marvel Legends list of 2021, I'm going to do a top 25 Legends of 2021 list. Because even though there weren't any on this list, I've still got a lot of love for the brand, and I'm going to be sharing that with the upcoming video. And also, because it's fun to do, and everyone loves a good salty rant, I will have my top 10 worst Marvel Legends of 2021 as well, so that's going to be a good time. But guys, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for watching throughout the whole year. This has been an amazing year of growth for the channel, and it still blows my mind. The fact that I'm wearing Model Behaviour merchandise, which is available at teespring.com, check the link in the description below. That's absolutely bonkers. I cannot wait to see where this channel goes next year, and I'm so happy to have you guys with me. If you want to doubly support the channel, you can go over to patreon.com/displaying model behavior. Few videos and stuff on there. That's a fun way of just saying, hey, thanks for the ridiculous amount of time you spend doing these videos. Honestly, it is ridiculous, but I love doing it, so I ain't gonna slow down. And speaking of that, I'm going to start making the next video. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep displaying model behavior.
Choose.